Hi students. Okay, in the last video we covered the experimental verification of the wave nature of electrons. That means the particle also behaves wave nature. That is, matter can also possess wave nature. That is experimentally verified, proved by Davison and Germer experiment. And there that de Broglie hypothesis also used to prove the second law of Bohr for studying atomic structure. Okay, that we covered in the last video. And from that, this dual nature and matter topic closed. And now today, or in this video, we will discuss some problems based on this dual nature of matter or de Broglie wavelength equation. Based on these, we can be do some of the problems. Now you can see here. There is a problem on the board, that is here, find the ratio of de Broglie wavelength of molecules hydrogen and helium which are at temperatures of 27 degrees Celsius and 127 degrees Celsius. So here the temperatures are given, then find out the ratio of the de Broglie wavelengths respected to their molecules. One is hydrogen, another one is helium. Right? First you write the equation for the de Broglie wavelength in terms of which word is required? Temperature. Right? So that equation first you have to make right, and after writing that, then use that equation and given data you apply accordingly. Find out what is the ratio of de Broglie wavelength. Now here the solution for this one is, here you have the solution. That is, by de Broglie wave equation or wavelength, by de Broglie wavelength, de Broglie wavelength equation, de Broglie wavelength equation. So that is, we have here lambda is equal to h upon p is there. And this further we can write lambda is equal to h by p. P can be written as square root of, it is 2mk, where k is the kinetic energy. Now here molecules are given hydrogen and helium, and their kinetic energy you can write it is 3 by 2 times of kT. So that is here this k is the kinetic energy, but the formula for this energy, kinetic energy of a molecule in three-dimensionally, that is 3 by 2 times of kT, where k is the Boltzmann constant. So here I can replace this equation as k or kinetic energy is equal to 3 by 2 kT we know. So in place of this kinetic energy I can put this one. Don't think this k same. This is a kinetic energy, or I can write E. Here I can write in place of k I can put E. So this is energy is equal to half kT, that is 3 by 2 times of kT. So in place of E I can put this one. Then the equation for wavelength to de Broglie wavelength is given by it is h upon 2m into E. E is here 3 by 2 kT. So this is under root of. So this 2 is gets cancelled. So now you can be having here the de Broglie wavelength is given by here 3m kT remains. So here the equation is h upon 3m kT. So this is the equation you can be observed. Right? Now in this, you see this one, that is here h is constant, k is constant, 3 constant. Only mass and temperature. Mass and temperature. So that you can be observed here. You can be see hydrogen mass and helium mass. So compared to the hydrogen, helium is how many times it is? It is given as 4 times. Right? Helium and hydrogen. H1, H11, it is a proton. H12, deuteron. H13, tritium. H224, it is alpha particle or helium. Right? So mass of hydrogen and helium are compared. This hydrogen helium mass is 4 times of hydrogen mass. And here you can be observed these temperatures, they are given. It is 27, it is 127. So make them to write in kelvins. That means here lambda is proportional to 1 upon root over m into t. Now I can write here lambda hydrogen is asking the find the respectively find the ratio of de Broglie wavelength. So here I am writing lambda for hydrogen H2 upon lambda for helium He is equal to, you can write this one is square root of, it is inversely proportional to square root of mass and inversely proportional to square root of temperature. So for lambda H2 will gives you, here it is the mass of hydrogen MH2 and temperature of hydrogen is 27, make it into Kelvin, 273 plus 27, it will become this 300. So it is into 300. So coming to here, so mass of this helium, it is 4 times the mass of the hydrogen. So you can write here 4 MH2, 4 times of mass of hydrogen into temperature. Temperature is here 127 plus 273, it is become 400. Right? Now you can write here mass of hydrogen is cancelled and these two are cancelled. Right? So now you can be objective having here this is 4 and 4. So you can get this 4 out. That means this ratio will be commenced here is 4 upon root 3. So the ratio will be commenced, how much it is? 4 upon root 3. So that is the ratio of these de Broglie wavelengths for this respective hydrogen and what it is given. It is given as here it is how much? It is given by 4 upon root 3. Great. So that is what you can be get. So this is what you can be observe the ratio of these two. And here what is the relation between these masses? That is important. So mass of hydrogen is H2 double. So here it is not 4 times, it is 2 times you can be observed. Not the 4 times, it is 2 times. So then it will become as this is answer is you can be observed to be having root over 8 by 3. The answer is root over 8 by 3. Okay, that is the mass of helium is double the mass of hydrogen because it is existing H2. Right? So if it is given H11, that is the proton. Proton is having the mass is 4 times make the mass of the alpha particle, but not the hydrogen. Right? So it is 2 times of mass of hydrogen is the mass of alpha particle or helium. Okay, that is what we have. So what is the ratio of these two? Root 8 is to root 3 or root over 8 by 3 is the ratio of the de Broglie wavelengths for hydrogen to helium. Right? So this is the first one. And coming to the second one. Here, an alpha particle and proton, here not the hydrogen, it is proton. So an alpha particle and a proton are fired through the same magnetic field which are perpendicular to their velocity vectors. That means the magnetic field and velocity vector of these respective two particles are perpendicular. That is given. The alpha particle and protons move such that the radius of curvatures of their paths is same. That means both proton as well as that alpha particle are moving in circular path which are having the radius is same. Yeah, that is given in this. Right? So that is the information. Then what is asking to calculate here? Then the ratio of their de Broglie wavelengths out. So when the alpha particles enter into magnetic field perpendicularly and proton also enter into the magnetic field perpendicularly, then the two are following the circular path, having the radius of both will be equal. Then what is the ratio of the de Broglie wavelengths for these two particles? Right? So that is the question is asked. Now here you remember why the charged particles are gets making into circular path when they are enter into the magnetic field. Because already said the charge is enter into any field, either it is electric field or magnetic field, it can be experience of force. And in magnetic field, with respect to the direction of magnetic field, any charged particle that entered normally or perpendicularly, then that charged particle will be follow say a path which is circular path you can get. That is you can be getting your magnetic fields, magnetic effects of currents. There you can be discuss about this topic. But as of now, because of the force experienced by the both the charged particle in the presence of magnetic fields, they will be deviated, deflected and follows a path that is called circular path. And with that circular path, both the charged particles are having the same radius of curvature. So that is given. Then find out the ratio of wavelengths of the de Broglie calculation. So now you can observe here why these particles are made circular path. And if they are making circular path, so what are the forces are acting on that? So the force acting on that charged particles are because of magnetic field, and also it is a counterpart by its velocity, that is a centrifugal force. Centrifugal force both are equal and opposite direction. Therefore, the charged particles are follows a circular path in the presence of magnetic field when the charged particles are enter into normal to magnetic field. Right? So now here, remember here, when a charge enters magnetic field perpendicularly, then they follow, then it follow which path? Circular path. Circular path. And what are the forces are acting on that charged particle? So here, when the charged particle is following a circular path, see here, this is a circle, center having the radius is r, and the charge is moving with velocity v, and here the charged particle is there having the charge is q. Here radius r, this is center of the circular path followed by the charged particle when it is entered into the magnetic field normally. Then it will follow a circular path. So what is the radius of the circular path? R. And what is the charge of the charged particle? Q. And what is the velocity with which it is entered into the magnetic field is v. Then here there is a centrifugal force acting toward the center. There is centrifugal force also acting away from the center. So this centrifugal force and centrifugal force both are equal and opposite, equal in magnitude and opposite direction. Then this charged particle only follows the circular path. If outward force or inward force is dominated, that the charged particle is no more in the circular path. It will follow other path, maybe parabolic or maybe hyperbolic or any curved path, not the circular path. So here this outward force and inward force both are equal. So that is I can write it here. That is force due to magnetic field on the charged particle is equal to, it is a centripetal force or centrifugal force. So therefore what I said here, force on the charge because of magnetic field, you will get that formula in coming chapters in track 1. That is, I can write here, QVB sin theta is equal to mv square by r. So this is the equation for centripetal force, this is the equation for the force of the charged particle because of the magnetic field. Right there. Now, Q is the charge, V is the velocity, B is the magnetic field, theta is the angle between magnetic field and velocity vector. How much the angle between the magnetic field and velocity vector? They are perpendicular. Means it is 90 degrees. So this is theta is 90, sin 90 is 1. So I can write this equation is QVB is equal to mv square upon r. So here this V is cancelled. Right. Now what is the equation or it is there, that is here QB is equal to mv upon r. Right. Now I can write this one is mv, mass into velocity is equal to, it is qbr. Make it equation 1. We require to calculate what? De Broglie wavelength ratio. So for that, by de Broglie wavelength equation, de Broglie wavelength equation, that is, we can have here lambda is equal to h by mv only, right? So from this, what is mv you can write? From this, mv is equal to h by lambda, make it second equation. Now here first equation mv, second equation also mv, you can equate RHS, that is, you can write from 1 and 2. From 1 and 2, what you can write here? H by lambda is equal to QBR. Now we require the lambda, that I can write here. Lambda is equal to what you can write? H upon QBR. And in this, see here, H is constant. B is also in the same magnetic field. Radius of curvature also it is same for both. It only depends on charge. So that means here the lambda can be calculated here. That is the de Broglie wavelength lambda is proportional to 1 upon charge. Because the other variables are made constant. H is constant, B is same, and R is also same for both. Both the proton and alpha particle both are following a circular path having the equal radius that is given. So it is also same. This is also same. It is constant. So I can write lambda is inversely proportional to charge. Now I can write here lambda for alpha particle upon lambda for proton is equal to, it is Q of proton upon Q of alpha particle. So wavelength of alpha particle upon wavelength of proton is given by charge of proton. I can write it is E, and charge of alpha particle is, it is 2E, double the charge. With respect to proton, the charge of the alpha particle is double. So here this E is cancelled. So the wavelength ratio, the de Broglie wavelength ratio for the alpha particle to the proton is given by 1:2, or the ratio is given by 1/2. Right? Followed. So here this equation you may not be having as of now. I given this is just in the presence of magnetic field. What is the force? Maybe electric field you might be having force acting on a charge because of electric field. It is a QE, charge into electric field intensity. But you can get this equation also when you are getting into the magnetic effects of currents. Correct? So there you can get this equation. As of now, just remember this one. Okay. So in this way you can find out the ratio for wavelengths, de Broglie wavelengths of alpha particle to proton. Right? Now coming to this other problems also we can be do some more problems. Only two we did till now. So we can be do still more. That is, I will go for the one more problem. That is okay. Now the next problem is you can have another one, that is an electron with a de Broglie wavelength of lambda. So third one, yeah, third question, electron with a de Broglie wavelength lambda fall on the target. It can be fall on the target. Fall on the target in X-ray tube. In X-ray tube. In X-ray tube, these electrons are following or will be getting incident. Then find the cutoff wavelength. The question is find the cutoff wavelength. Cutoff wavelength lambda naught of the emitted electrons from the X-rays, or the cutoff wavelength of the emitted X-rays. The emitted X-rays. So this is the question. So now in this is given or is asked to find out what is the cutoff wavelength. Cutoff wavelength is nothing but the maximum wavelength with which the X-rays are gets emitted from the target by incidenting that electrons. That electrons are having a de Broglie wavelength of lambda. The electrons are moving with certain energies. With that energy they are striking the target material, and from the target you are getting the X-rays. In that, what is the cutoff wavelength for the X-rays which are emitted from the target? That value you have to find out. Correct? So now in this, very easy, just apply the de Broglie wavelength concept. From that, here energy requirement is there. So energy requirement means you have to write the equation for energy or kinetic energy in terms of de Broglie wavelength, and that energy you equated for the minimum energy required, or it will be possessed by the X-rays which we can be able to get or emitted from the target. So that is easily we can be identify or calculate. That is you can be see here. So the solution for this one is, here we have, okay, by de Broglie wavelength equation in terms of energy, by de Broglie equation in terms of energy or kinetic energy. That is, the equation is lambda is equal to h upon root over 2mk. Right? So we require the kinetic energy. Make the squaring on both sides. So this will gives you here it is lambda square is equal to h square upon 2mk. So from this right, what is the k? The energy. That is here I can write k is equal to h square upon 2m lambda square. Make it equation 1. So this is the kinetic energy equation we got. Now the energy of X-rays, the minimum energy possessed by the X-rays that they can be emitted from the target are, we can write here the minimum energy of X-rays is equal to this kinetic energy. So the minimum energy of emitted X-rays is equal to kinetic energy of electrons. So therefore we can write here, what do you can write? K is equal to hc by lambda naught. Where this lambda naught is called as a cutoff wavelength. What is this K? K is nothing but this equation. So I can write from equation 1, I can write this one is h square upon 2m lambda square is equal to hc by lambda naught. So we want to find out the lambda naught, that is cutoff wavelength, which is emitted from the target material which is existing in the X-rays. So now you can have here it is h square. So one of the h is cancelled. So lambda naught right this side and remaining all to this side. That is I can write here lambda naught is equal to, that is cutoff wavelength is equal to, what you can write it is with a 2mc lambda square upon h. So this is the equation for the cutoff wavelength which is present in the X-rays. Okay, because of these electrons are moving with a wavelength of lambda, having the energy, with that energy when they are striking the target, from the target X-rays are emitted. In that X-rays, what is the minimum energy possessed, that is equal to the kinetic energy of these electrons. Right? Now you can be having here this lambda naught is the value for which one it is? It is the cutoff wavelength for X-rays, emitted X-rays. So that one is asking here, find the cutoff wavelength of the emitted X-rays. So the cutoff wavelength for the emitted X-rays is given by this is the equation. So it is not given the value, just in terms of wavelength only you can be write the equation. That is we got here 2mc lambda square by h. Okay, so this is the another question what we have. Right? Okay, one more we can do. I will make it remove this one. Okay, we'll go for the next one. Followed, getting now? Yes? Yes or no? It is simple, just you apply the basics are related to the de Broglie wavelength concept, and this X-rays topic we will discuss in the atoms after discussing that Bohr's are different atomic models, after that at the end we can be having the X-rays, Mosley's law, Compton effect. That part also we can be having to discuss in atoms. Okay, right? So with this from this we are doing the topic in this dual nature will be we discussed or we covered, and just we can be making some problems based on the formula what we got till now. Right? So now go for the next problem. So that is again it is related to the de Broglie concept or the equation. So that is what it is. The question is maybe it is the question will take somewhat, it will take some time, but even though it is sometimes taking, but we have to do the problems, right? And now we can be having here is a problem photons of energies. Here is one more problem. We have photons of energies 4.25 electron volts and 4.7 electron volts. 4.7 electron volts are incident on two metal surfaces A and B. Two metal surfaces A and B respectively. The maximum kinetic energy of emitted electrons are maximum kinetic energy of emitted electrons are, it is given Ta electron volts and Tb is equal to Ta minus 1.5 electron volts. Then find the ratio, or it is given the ratio of the de Broglie wavelengths of photoelectrons. The ratio of de Broglie wavelengths of the photoelectrons from them is in the ratio of 1:2. Then find the work functions of both A and B. So here it is given, there is one more, the question is extended, the ratio of de Broglie wavelengths. So the ratio of de Broglie wavelengths of photoelectrons from them, it is given is lambda A is to lambda B is equal to, it is 1:2. Then find the work function of both A and B. That is the question. Then find the work functions of A and B. So this is the question, right? So that is, it is given the equation or object to be having here. The kinetic energy is maximum is given. So for A is a Ta is given, for B is a Tb which is given as Ta minus 1.5 electron volts. That is the maximum kinetic energy for second metal B. And also is given the ratio of the de Broglie wavelengths of the photoelectrons emitted from both A and B metals also given. They are in the ratio of 1:2. Correct? So kinetic energy values are given and de Broglie wavelength ratios are given. Then is asked to find out what is the work function for both. Right? So first you calculate the values in terms of the these de Broglie wavelengths it is given. You can find out what is the value of their kinetic energy is T at dB. We can be calculated. Once you know the T at dB, that is the kinetic energy of A, kinetic energy of B metals. They are given the energies for each. This is the amount of the incident energy on the metal A. This is the amount of incident energy on metal B. If you know the kinetic energies, then you can use the photoelectric equation given by Einstein. By using that, we can find out what is the work function for the respective metals. You can be determined. So now you can solve this one as here. So what you can add? The relation between the de Broglie wavelength and maximum kinetic energy. That relation already we have. That is as we have that. So what is the relation between the de Broglie wavelength and kinetic energy? So de Broglie wavelength is proportional to 1 upon root A. Right? So now here for A metal kinetic energy rate, for B metal kinetic energy rate, then you find out the ratio of both. This is for A, this is kinetic energy of A. Similarly, I can write lambda for B is proportional to 1 upon root over Kb, that is kinetic energy of B metal. Then divide 1 over the what you can get. So lambda A by lambda B. Already lambda A by lambda B is given as 1 by 2. So now use these two. I can write here lambda A upon lambda B is equal to what you can write it is inversely proportional. That means you can write it is square root of kinetic energy of metal B upon kinetic energy of metal E. So you can write this is lambda A by lambda B is 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 is equal to Kb, kinetic energy of metal B is given as here Ta. That is kinetic energy of A minus 1.5 upon you can write kinetic energy of A. That is you can write here Ta. It will be under root of. So we want to get the Ta by making squaring on both sides. So this will become as here 1 upon 4 is equal to it is Ta minus 1.5 upon Ta. What is the Ta? It is the kinetic energy, maximum kinetic energy of empty electrons for A metal is of Ta electron volts. So find out Ta by using this. Do the cross multiplication and the Ta is equal to 4Ta minus 6. So now you can write here 3Ta is equal to 6. So Ta is equal to how much you get? 2 electron volts. Right? So we have the kinetic energy, maximum kinetic energy of empty electrons for the metal surface A is given by 2 electron volts. Similarly, what is the kinetic energy emitted? Kinetic energy of empty electrons from B metal. Use here Ta. Ta is a 2 minus 1.5. It will be 0.5 electron volts. Right? So now, similarly, or you can find out Tb is equal to 2 minus 1.5 electron volts. So that is Tb is equal to what you can be having here? It is 0.5 electron volts. So we got Ta and Tb. The maximum kinetic energies for both the metals we got. For metal A, we got it as 2 electron volts. For metal B, it is 0.5 electron volts. You can use the Einstein's photoelectric equation. So now what do you get? From Einstein photoelectric equation. That is, you can write here E is equal to work function. That is 5 plus Kmax. Right? For metal A, I can write here work function for A. That is here this incident energy. How much it is? 4.25. So 4.25 electron volts is equal to work function. We have to calculate for metal A plus maximum kinetic energy. How much it is? We got it is 2 electron volts. So then, what is the work function for metal A? It is 4.25 minus 2. It will be electron volts. So therefore, the work function of metal A is given by it is 2.25 electron volts. So this is the work function for metal A. Similarly, go for metal A. What is the work function? So work function. Similarly, work function for metal B is given by total energy incident it is 4.7 minus its kinetic energy is given by how much it is 0.5. It will be electron volts. So now you can write here work function for metal B is given by how much it is? It is 4.2 electron volts. So this is the work function of metal B. right? So here, according to data what is provided, first we calculated the maximum kinetic energy for the both the metals. After that we applied this photoelectric equation given by Einstein. Then we calculated the work function for the respective metals, right? So that is A and B metals. Work function is for A is 2.25 electron volts, for B is 4.2 electron volts, right? So like this we can be having the problems can be calculated or solved, right? So from this, okay, we'll discuss few more in the next video. So from this we will be conclude.